Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to don your hats, tighten your spats, and wind your watches back, because it's time for a book review. I recently finished reading The Watchmaker's Daughter by C.J. Archer, and as you can tell, I love steampunk. Oh my god. Like, this is nothing. This is half, like not even half of the steampunk stuff that I own. But if there is one genre that I freaking love, it is steampunk mystery / romance. Because you've got to have the romance in there. So The Watchmaker's Daughter is about a girl called India Steele who has been duped out of her father's watchmaking shop by her particularly horrible fiance, who was basically just in it for the money. Men. And she crosses paths with a particularly enigmatic, mysterious American called Matthew Glass. The cool thing about this book is, like, that is all you are given at the beginning. If you read the blurb at the back, Matthew Glass, he possesses this watch that seemingly glows purple and kind of like does magic stuff, revitalizes him. So there's kind of this Dorian Gray thing going on. He's looking for a watchmaker, and India is an incredibly capable watchmaker. The reason why I really loved this book, and particularly this genre, is that the main characters, the main female characters, are usually fantastic. Like, they are intelligent, they are proactive, they are like the epitome of a modern feminist woman set in a Victorian or a Elizabethan society, usually Victorian. It works really well with romance as well, because you'll find that a lot of these steampunk novels also have a fairly big dash of romance in there as well. And I think that's because the particular historical setting that a lot of these books, and specifically this book, is set in, works very well for creating that kind of sexual tension that, can I tell you, as a woman, we all crave it. I like a good dash of sexual tension with my petticoats. I don't want to spoil too much of the book for you guys, but Mr. Glass definitely is not all that he seems. Of course, that's where the mystery part comes in, because you are given so little at the beginning of the book, and this is the thing that made me not want to put it down. Aside from knowing about this watch that apparently revitalizes him every once in a while, the author has done a really good job of creating that, like, a time limit, because it's hinted at throughout the novel that this watch is not working as well as it used to, hinting at the fact, like, there is a time limit for them to try and work through all of this conflict. Not only that, but there's this subplot of India not being able to find work and her tension with the watchmakers in London, and you kind of don't know why. It's like they seem like they're afraid of her, though we don't know why. There are quite a few feminist themes in this book. For instance, a lot of the traditional roles that were placed upon women in that time in society are challenged in the book. Things like a woman living alone with a rich man, even though it's like in a big house and everything. That does kind of play into the plot a little bit. It's hinted at part of the reason why India can't get work is because women can't become watchmakers. They can't become part of the guilds, they can't get their watchmaker's license, so then they can't make watches and make a living. So that is actually used very well, but it's not used as a crutch to kind of propel the story forward. Another thing that I really loved about this is that India is not a damsel in distress. I mean, she does get into a few tight situations here and there, but she's not overly gung-ho as well, like you'll find in a lot of fan fiction or a lot of like Mary Sue type stories where the main character, they'll be in a tight bind and then suddenly they'll pull this magical skill or this talent out of their from wherever it is, and then boom, they've saved the day. No, India does get into these tight binds. She gets out of it, usually with the help of one of her newfound acquaintances, but she also contributes a lot to the resolution of that particular little, let's call it a conflict. Another thing that I really, really liked is that even the supporting characters are very, very well written. They're quite well rounded. You've got Cyclops, who is Matthew Glass's kind of like his carriage man, his footman. He's called Cyclops because he has one eye. There is also Duke, who's kind of footman slash butler, who is, I liked him. He seems like a nice guy. He is not initially as suspicious of India when she first comes into the fold of their little group, but he is also still quite loyal to Matthew. And it becomes quite apparent that all of these main characters, aside from India, like, they're all friends, but they're also kind of like a family. They have this kind of posse thing going on. It's quite well done. Then we have Willie. Oh my gosh, I love Willie. If I was a character in this book, I'd probably be Willie. She is an amazing, flawed character. She has her vices, but they are handled stunningly. She is a huge gambler. She is so unladylike. She dresses in men's clothing, and she really has this "I'm not a woman because all women are victims" complex. That's kind of like her hubris. She's trying so hard to be unladylike that it gets her into trouble. Now, India, I was struggling a little bit to find some of her flaws, but I think her flaws mainly are that she's not sure of herself, and I think that's the reason why she comes across as so relatable. As she goes through the events in the book, you know that she knows how to deal with this particular problem. You know that she knows what to say. She knows that she knows what to say, but she doesn't want to say it because it will either clash with the society's laws at the time, or she's just not sure of herself. However, another one of her downfalls is that she has a pretty quick temper and she's quite confrontational. As far as the plot is concerned, I think it was done quite well. It wasn't too convoluted. It was very simple and had a few nice layers to it, but it wasn't too complicated. It was easy to follow. And I'm not going to go into it too much, but the main gist of the plot is trying to find this watchmaker so that Matthew's magical watch doesn't stop working. There is also a bit of a protagonist in there who comes along. I kind of don't think that he was used to the best of his ability. He kind of didn't really have, he didn't even come into it until like maybe 50% of the way through the book, and then kind of served as a way to display India's apparent magical abilities. So I don't quite think that that was used as well as it could have been, but it was still incredibly well-rounded. And honestly, as soon as because I bought it on Kindle, as soon as I got to the end of it, I clicked the link to buy the next one. I'll give you a bit of a backstory as to how I stumbled across this book. I was in a shopping centre drinking coffee with my husband, waiting to go see a movie, and I saw on Twitter that this book was actually 99 cents at the moment on sale. I read the quick blurb and I'm like, okay, I like a good steampunk romance mystery kind of thing. And I'm so happy that I actually bought this book. It's gonna be up there on my top steampunk books. Now, that was probably about 12 o'clock, and it is now 9 o'clock, and I finished it with a bit of a break in between because I'm actually working from home at the moment. It's been a very long time since I have actually had to sit on the couch because I could not tear myself away from this book. It was lovely. And you know what? I've probably said that a lot in this video. The top epitome of awesomeness about this book is that there was romance, but there was no gratuitous sex. I'm sorry, this is going to be a bit of a spoiler, but there was no sex. No sex at all. And that's the thing that I love about steampunk. I don't know whether it's because it's set in this particular point in society, but the romance, it's gone back to the roots of what romance is. The tension between two people trying to figure out, you've got that kind of, will he or won't he? Does she like him? Oh yeah, she likes him, but she can't really say anything because, you know, it's not quite proper. But he's really sexy, and now he's making her hot chocolate in the kitchen while completely topless. God, that was a really good scene. Seriously, this Matthew Glass guy in here, oh, very nice. CJ Archer, very nice. I was actually going to read the next book tonight because I kind of really want to. The next book is called The Mapmakers Apprentice, which it carries directly on from the events of the first book. But I didn't really want to read it before I actually gave you guys a review for the first book, because I need to do this now whilst all of the emotions and all of the words are sitting in here. So if you like your steampunk with just a hint of magic and some really nice, reasonable romance and good mystery, the mystery was very well done. The bits and bobs dropped here and there were done in a way that didn't make it incredibly obvious as to what was happening until you hit the reveal towards the end of the book. I would definitely say you should go out and get this one. I'm probably going to give this one a 9 out of 10. It was pretty freaking awesome. That is all for this book review. I hope you liked my hat, and I'm going to lace my corset and pick up book number 2. Bye!